Hello everybody and welcome to a new IELTS Express lesson. Today we'll be analyzing an academic writing task 1 summary, particularly a line graph. Now to be quite honest, I think line graph are the worst after tables. In tables we've got numbers, here we just have lines. But don't worry, in this tutorial I'm going to give you a step-by-step guidance on how to write IELTS line graph summaries. So let's get started. So first we're going to start by understanding the task, which means that you should be spending around 3 to maximum 4 minutes reading the question, jotting down any ideas, words, phrases, verbs, nouns that will help you write the summary, underlining keywords, scribbling on the visual cue. You can do whatever helps you. So this is the question, and most of it remains the same. You have to spend about 20 minutes on the task. Again, the graph below, as you can see here, it doesn't mention the name, the graph below. Well, in your summary, you're going to specify the name, the line graph, and gives information from 2008 report since 1980 with projections until 2030. So, okay, this means that if you carefully read a task, you're going to figure out that there are some projections in the future. All right. Besides the fact that you have to identify the main features and to make comparisons where relevant. Yeah. You also have to make sure that you write 150 words or more. You can aim for about 160 up until 190 words. You shouldn't, yeah, so and try not to write under the word count. And then we have to deal with the visual cue. You have to be very careful to look at the horizontal axis, vertical axis, the horizontal axis. So here we have the timeline with increments of 5 years all the way till 2030. And then on the vertical, you have the measurement units. You have quadrillion units, again, increments of 5 until 50. So you have to be very careful about this. What else have you got? Besides the fact that you have to pay attention at the time frame and to use past, present, and future, you also have to pay attention at the labels. Now here in the line graph, I recommend you group them. And here you have 3 here, which are pretty much the same: nuclear, solar, wind, and hydropower. And then another 3 which are increasing, and there's a mild fluctuation. Now there's another thing that a former student told me, because you're going to have black and white visual cue. They told me that they used highlighters to highlight the line graph, and it's easier for you to see this way. And I think this is a very good piece of advice. You can use it. You can highlight it or color it instead of having it in shades of gray. And there's another thing that I would like to tell you. I haven't seen, and I mean this in the books and on websites that have been designed and created by actual ex-IELTS examiners, one line graph, because you need to have something to compare. You cannot, I mean, you can compare it to itself, but usually you have minimum 2, and here you have 6, because you need to have one that goes up, one that goes down, one that fluctuates. So you need to make comparisons. This one is also taken from the Cambridge IELTS books. I cannot remember if it's book 7 or 8, but this is an actual paper, so it's not something invented. Okay, now that you have spent some time analyzing the task, let's cut to the chase. So again, when you're planning your summary, remember to have a very clear introduction, when you should include all the information from the 2 axes and the name of the categories, and also to paraphrase the question. Then in the second paragraph, the overview, you should include all main trends, and you should only write one paragraph. Try not to do, don't divide your key points into different paragraphs. And you should also include the main increases and decreases shown. And whenever you're writing the body paragraphs in paragraph 1 and paragraph 2, make sure you use a range of vocabulary, grammar, and try as much as possible not to make any spelling mistakes. Try to vary your usage of verbs and nouns. Try to use a range of adjectives and adverbs. Vary your time phrases. And don't always give from 1980 to 2000 whenever you're talking about amounts. Sometimes you can change a little bit. For example, it increased by double, or it doubled, or threefold. Whenever you're writing in the body paragraphs, make sure you use numbers or percentages or whatever you have. Here we have quadrillions as a measurement of unit to support your sentences, because if you don't do this, you will get a very low score because you haven't supported your ideas with examples. Another tip that I would like to tell you before we start looking at the sample answer is to organize your body paragraphs logically, so it is easy for the examiner to read. What I mean by that, to leave an empty line between paragraphs to make them easier to read, to see and to read. This is not, of course, a rule, but it's a very strong recommendation. And I would like you to do the following exercise with me. Repeat after me. Writing is not texting. Writing is not texting. Writing is not texting. And actually, academic writing is not texting. Okay? This should be your mantra. You should repeat this time after time. You should use capital letters. You should use full stops, not emojis. And you shouldn't use acronyms or anything like that. And again, don't spend more than 20 minutes on task 1. Yeah? They tell you you should. Yeah? Well, that should is like do it in 20 minutes. I know it's a recommendation, but do it because you'll need a full 40 minutes for task 2, which is double the marks. Okay? So let's get started. Let's have a look at the model answer here. The introduction, as I said, yeah, you paraphrase what you see. And as I said, we are going to specify the line graph, the amount of energy used in the United States, and we can give the time frame. We're not going to the specifics, but we give time frame 1980, 2008, projections. Okay, easy peasy. If you spend a little bit of time planning, it's going to be easy for you. One sentence. I have paraphrased, so I can move on. The overview, as I said, starts with overall. You can see the main trends. United States had used a lot of fossil fuels. Projection will continue in the future. Comparison, while nuclear and renewable energy are increasing, they will still be used less. Okay? Having a clear overview with the high and the lows, with the main important things, yeah, it's going to be easier for you to figure out exactly how to go into more details in the body paragraphs. Since you have identified the main trends, you can go into detail in paragraph 1 and then in paragraph 2. And here we have a little bit more complex, yeah, because we have a more complex line graph. We have 6 categories, 2 sentences, and I have also include while to compare. Nothing complicated. Since this is band 5, if you want to upgrade to go to band 6 or 7, I would replace the future with will. It is expected, it is projected, and this way you show other ways of expressing future, and you can use passive voice, so it's higher level of grammar. But for band 5, this is totally fine. Okay, let's move on to the body paragraphs. In the first one, I'm going to write about the first categories, and I'm going to state the time frame, 9080, petrol, oil. I have a little bit of passive voice over here. And then I also compare, followed by. And then I move on, coal and natural gas. Yeah. Again, there's a lot of data. So in this sample answer, the candidate has compared as much as possible. I also talk about the candidate also talks about the projections in the future. Fossil fuels will increase with 40 quadrillions. Actually, you can write a Q here as long as you write quadrillion and then between brackets you can write a Q. But this is totally fine as well. So here in the first paragraph, the candidate has written about the first three categories. So normally in the second paragraph, we'll talk about the other ones, nuclear, the other parts of the graph, nuclear and renewable energies, the one which are at the bottom and they're pretty much similar. Also, everything is supported with data. Time frame is also mentioned. Language, yes, it's basic, but it compares and contrasts the information and is supported by data from the line graph. So this would be it. This is how you should be dealing with a line graph if you're aiming at band 5 and 5.5. If you practice quite enough, I think you can do a very good job. It's very important you practice under time conditions, and if you're going to take the paper-based exam, make sure you also practice on exam answer sheets. You can find them on my website under the download section. And that will be all for me. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you have learned quite a lot from this lesson. If there is anything you'd like me to help you with related to IELTS, please drop your questions and suggestions in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.